guys, welcome back. So I have another What's Sold on Poshmark video for you all today. So if you want to hear about every single sale I made during a 2-week period, definitely keep on watching. For those of you who might be new here, thanks so much for checking this out. I'm a full-time working mom, but in my spare time I really like making these videos on fashion, beauty, mommy lifestyle, in addition to my reselling experience on Poshmark. So if that kind of thing sounds at all interesting to you, please consider checking out my other videos linked down below, and please also subscribe as well. It'll totally help me out. Okay, so for this video, again, I'm going to take you through all of my sales during a 2-week period, and as you'll see, it was not a great 2 weeks, but like usual in life, I have some excuses for why, and I'll kind of share with you tips on that, and also how to kind of pull out of these ruts that you might get into as a reseller. So for this video, I'm going to be covering my sales for the weeks of July 12th and July 19th, and I'm going to be taking you through every single sale and kind of telling you a little bit about them. And just to remind you, these sale prices will not be including my cost of goods or any business related expenses. If you're interested in hearing about my cost of goods, I do disclose that information in my haul videos, which I will link down below in case you're curious. So let me just say, these 2 weeks have been rough, but again, I have a couple of reasons why, and hopefully some tips as well to try to pull out of this rut. We'll see how I do going forward. But during this particular 2-week block, a couple of things happened. So the first is, even prior to this block, I think a couple weeks prior to this block that I'm going to mention, I really did not list any single item. So I went for a stretch for about 3 to 4 weeks of not listing a single item. I definitely do not advise this. Let me say that. I think it's great to be consistent if you can, even as a part-time reseller, and to list items periodically, maybe not daily, but as much as you can. But to go for a 3 or 4 week stretch of not listing, that's really unheard of for me. So I think that that's really what hurt my sales. And usually you see how this affects your sales a couple weeks after the fact. So at first, when I stopped listing, I definitely still had a decent amount of sales that I talked about in my previous videos. But about 2 weeks into this period, that's kind of when I started seeing this drop off. So I think that's what happened to me. And the reason why I didn't list anything really is because my full-time job got a little bit out of hand, right? So we're in this pandemic. As you know, I'm an oncologist, so I had work that was really picking up. I was in a hospital rotation, and to be honest, just didn't have time for this. And I did feel personally a little bit guilty about ignoring Poshmark, but you have to survive these days and be as healthy as you can for your family and for work. So I just was not able to devote time to listing new items, and I just kind of had to accept that. So that's what happened to me. I did still keep my closet open. I shared as much as I could, and I also was able to package and ship all my items in a timely fashion. So those are the things I prioritized during this period, but I just couldn't spend time on listing. So the second thing is that I did go on vacation toward the end of this 2-week block, so it hurt me in terms of having to close my closet as well. And personally, when I do go out of town and I'm not able to ship out the next day, I definitely close my closet. I like to try to ship everything out at least the day after, if not the same day somebody purchases something. So if I'm not able to hit that window, if you're out of town, to be honest with you, I just shut my closet down. If you have tips or tricks as to if there's any way to maintain this business and be out of town, I'd really appreciate it. But for me, I can't really see any way that I can easily, with good conscience, keep my closet open. So I tend to shut it down if I'm out of town. So that happened as well. Plus, my third excuse is potentially I may be feeling the effects of this summer slowdown. At least I know last year I experienced it as well. This year, I thought maybe it won't be as bad because more people are at home and not doing so many things. Maybe they're shopping more online, but I don't know. Maybe this is part of the summer slowdown as well. So for all these reasons, as you'll see, my sales hurt quite a bit during this 2-week period, but out of full disclosure, I want to share with you the good and the bad of reselling. I'm going to do this video like I normally do, cover the 2-week block and show you every single sale I made. I'm still thankful for these sales. It's great that you can still have a little bit of a side business even in these kind of periods of being in a rut. So I definitely appreciate that about Poshmark. So let me go ahead and share with you the items that I sold. It'll be a pretty quick video. And at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you some tips and kind of things that I'm going to be trying to work on to kind of revamp my closet a little bit. So the first item that sold during this block was this pair of Toms, and it was a wingtip Oxford suede lace up a loafer. It is a size 10. This item had been used before, but it was in really excellent condition in my opinion, but I thought it was a really unique style from Toms, and all of Toms are always comfortable, which is really nice as well. So this item got, as you can see here, 75 likes. So I got a ton of likes, but I just couldn't sell it. And I did pay up a little bit for these as well, so I had to hold out a little bit to sell this item. But ultimately, I was able to sell this item for an offers to likers offer of $36. Poshmark fees were $7.20, and my shipping discount discount was $2.12. So my net earnings were $26.68. So I didn't make a huge profit on these pair of shoes, but I did profit a little bit. So I was excited to move this along. The problem is now, this item is currently in my personal closet again. The reason is that I shipped it out, and I shipped it out the next day that it sold, and it took a while to track, and ultimately it said that there's no available address at that site, so it got returned to sender. So I got this back last week, basically, in the mail. I had been communicating with Poshmark and the buyer throughout this entire process. The buyer seemed to be still interested and said that she had received other packages using that same address. So I asked Poshmark to look into it. And at first they said, no, we don't see that it was returned to sender. Just, you gotta hold out a little bit longer. Let's see what happens. Even though on my end it said return to sender, they didn't see that apparently. So they said to just hold out and not act on it just yet. Ultimately, of course, it was returned to sender, so I wrote them back, and they said they're going to reach out to the buyer and see if they are able to provide a different address. So right now I'm kind of in a holding pattern, just waiting to see if I can ship this out, which I would really, really like to do, but, you know, that's what happened. You will also see in my last What Sold video, the same thing happened to me another item, and prior to this month, I really had not had this happen to me at all before, these two return to senders. So I'm not sure what's going on, to be honest with you. I suspect that potentially, I think everything's kind of overstretched these days, including maybe the Postal Service. I've been having some more shipping issues recently with the Postal Service that I really hadn't experienced before. I don't know if you guys have been experiencing these things as well, but let me know if you have in the comments. Of course, I'd be curious. But yeah, this was another return to sender for whatever reason. So I'm hopeful that I'm able to work this sale out. If not, I will relist it in my closet. So next item that sold was this Joan and David Canyon leather platform heels. It was new at tags in a size 9. So I really love this design. Just a beautiful classic nude color with some nice woven details. It was new with tags on them still. And Joan and David is a brand that retails for a decent amount, but just does not resell for a lot. So I would not probably pick this up in the future. But because it was new at tags and I like the style, I wanted to give it a try. Ultimately, I did sit on this, I'd say, for probably about a year. You know, that's the problem with this kind of pair of shoes. But I was happy that this sold for an offers to likers of $40. Poshmark fees were $8, and my shipping discount was $2.12. So my net earnings are $29.88, which is an okay profit margin, but it's not acceptable for me to have these items that I think are going to sit for a year or longer. So to be honest with you, I probably would not pick up this particular item going forward. The next item was from Skechers. It was a Beverly High Tea Luxe Foam Wedges in a size 7, and I hauled this in a recent ThredUp Rescue Box haul, which I will link down below in case you're curious. And it was just a very classic Skechers wedge. You just can't go wrong, have a lot of comfort features, just a beautiful shoe. There was some wear, but really not much. So I did accept a best offer of $20. Poshmark fees are $4, so my net earnings are $16 on these pair of shoes. The next item was a beautiful linen blend sleeveless top from J. Jill. It was new at tags in a size small. So this top was a very basic. It did have a couple of fun features, like the little fringe on the bottom, as you can see there, was a really cool design. But it was a linen blend, which is really nice for this time of year. Just a classic white or ivy shell. It was new at tags. It retailed for $60. So ultimately, I did sell this for a best offer of $30. Poshmark fees were $6, and my net earnings were $24. I wasn't sure how J. Jill would do, but I did pick this up at my local thrift store for a couple of reasons. I think this time of year, linen blends do really well. It was a beautiful white color, which I thought would also do well, and it was new at tags. So for those reasons, I figured I'd give it a try. J. Jill in general, I probably would not pick up going forward unless it met kind of all these criteria that I just mentioned. But I was happy this moved along, and it moved along pretty quickly as well. So I thought this was a pretty good sale. The next item was from Madewell. It was a fabric and leather flat sandals in a size 10. So I really love this design. I did haul this in a ThredUp Rescue shoe haul as well, which I will link down below if you want to check that out. But I thought it was a beautiful pair of shoes. As you can see, perfect for this time of year. And Madewell shoes in general do really, really well. So this particular pair of shoes, I did accept a best offer of $35. Poshmark fees were $7, so my net earnings are $28 on this pair of shoes. So going forward, yes, I will always consider picking up Madewell shoes if they're in good condition. I think the shoes in particular, more than other items from Madewell, tend to do really well. So I'm always on the lookout for a good Madewell shoe. So yes, I was happy about this one. The next item was this Anthropologie Postmark dolman sleeve graphic top in a size extra small. So this was just a very beautiful top from Anthropologie, and it, of course, like Anthropologie in general, has a lot of fun details too with the dolman sleeve. It had a little bit of a banding type of look at the waistband. This item sold for full asking price of $28. Poshmark fees are $5.60, and my net earnings are $22.40. So this particular item sold relatively quickly, I'd say, over a few months. I think it was listed in my closet, which isn't bad, especially for these anthro tops these days, and it sold for full asking price, which I was really excited about. So as usual, I shipped it out the day after I sold it, and let's see, I've been sitting on this now for probably 13 days, and it still says that it's in transit, arriving late. So again, the post office, I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's just me experiencing these things, but it's a little bit odd. So unfortunately, this buyer still hasn't gotten it. So this particular one, I'm just going to sit on a little bit longer until we have some more tracking information. But another kind of disappointing experience, I think, with regard to shipping. So I really, really hope the buyer gets this item real soon. The next item that sold was this pair of Ortho Active full-length shoe inserts in a size medium. And this particular item I got at my local thrift store because I recognize the brand Ortho Bionic, and I personally love the brand in terms of shoes, and it's a pretty good seller. But I didn't know how the insoles would do, to be honest, but I thought these were great condition. I wanted to give them a try. They retail for $45, and the size medium fit shoe size is 8.5 to 10, in case you're curious, in women's. So I decided to list it. You know, the retail price is pretty decent, $45, so I want to see how this resells. And it actually resold pretty quickly, I'd say, in the past couple of months or so. So I did decide to send out an offers to likers of $19. Poshmark fees are $3.80, and my shipping discount was $2.12. So my net earnings are $13.08. So not a huge profit margin, that's for sure, but these things do move. So if you find these orthotic inserts out there and you can get them at a pretty decent price point, I think it's probably worthwhile trying them out. I think people are definitely on the market for them. So believe it or not, I just have one final sale to share with you guys today, and it's this beautiful loafers. It's from Unisa. It's a light suede leather loafer. It was new at tags in this beautiful chestnut color and in a size 8. So this particular shoe I thought was beautiful when I found it. I'm really into loafers these days, and I really love this color. It's just kind of my style. It retails for $50, and it was new at tags. So I was excited about it until I got home and then realized that there was some peeling on the insole a little bit, which I disclosed, but it wasn't in pristine condition, which is a little disappointing, but nonetheless, it did get a decent amount of attention, I would say. So this particular shoe, I did accept a best offer of $25. Poshmark fees are $5, so my net earnings are $20 on these pair of shoes. So going forward, I would consider this brand again, especially if it's new at tags, but I need to be extra wary of checking the condition before picking these things up. But overall, I was definitely happy with this particular sale. Okay, so that's basically it. So as you can see, the number of my sales just really tanked. I didn't make any blockbuster sales either during this 2-week stretch, so definitely a little bit disappointing for the reasons I talked about at the beginning of this video. But at least in my experience so far, this is how reselling goes, which is why for me, I really have to remind myself that this is a part-time thing for me, kind of a hobby, so I can't beat myself up too much about it if I have to shut my closet down or if I have to, not list anything for a long stretch like happened to me this time. But nonetheless, it's still disappointing. I mean, you put a lot of work into this, and to not see returns is definitely disheartening, that's for sure. So what I'm doing to try to combat this is going to be of no surprise probably, but what you have to do, I think, is just kind of get back in there. I think being as active on the app as possible is important for Poshmark, meaning listing more consistently. So now that I'm off that particular rotation, I'm able to spend a little bit more time listing. So I'm going to focus on listing more regularly these days. Of course, sharing more regularly. So I don't overshare because it takes a lot of time, I would say. But sharing my closet at least 2 times a day, hopefully 3 times a day, is kind of what I'm aiming for. And then of course also trying to get good inventory. So part of it too is you want to have fresh inventory that people are seeking. So not just listing random items, but you want to list items that people are going to seek out, or items that may draw more attention to your closet so people can check out other items. So because I'm still not out there thrifting yet because of the pandemic, I've been getting more into retail arbitrage, as I've talked about before. So I'm hoping to list more of these items in the next couple of months, and hopefully I can get some traction with that. So we'll see how I do with that. But overall, I think it's really just listing more, sharing more if you can, just being more active on the app overall, I think will be really helpful. So none of these tips are really blockbusters, I'll say, but that's really what I'm working on to try to kind of jumpstart my sales a little bit more. I think when you get into a rut, it's easy to just kind of get worse into the rut and kind of get really down on yourself and say, well, if nothing's selling, I don't want to spend more time on this because it's really not worth it. But I would really caution you against that, because this is a time when you're in a rut, because you have more time, because you're not selling a lot, you're able to devote that extra time to jump starting it again. So kind of look at it like that. I would say when you're in a rut, use that extra time to kind of revamp the closet a little bit. So that's what I'm going to be trying to work on over the next few weeks, and I'll let you know how things go. I hope the next What's Sold video is a little bit more encouraging for you, but we shall see. Thank you so much for watching yet another video, and if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing using the link down below. Otherwise, I'll plan to see you again in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!